Recording got broken. So, any question you would like to ask at this stage? Anything is not clear? Let me finish this part and then you can ask questions. So, as I said, the Catholic Church of the medieval era was hegemonic and it offered a unified ideology cutting across the elite and the subalterns, and it tried to unify them under one umbrella. But the unity was external from the peasants' point of view, because as I told you, peasants could only connect with the clergy. In a way, they were spellbound by the power of the clergy. So they could not understand, therefore, they could not digest the language of the clergy in their hearts. But in their mind, they thought that, so we can't, which we can't understand, must be necessarily good. As I said, my drawing examples, illustrations from my students who think that teachers who are incomprehensible must be very good. Otherwise, how do they fail to understand? The same logic holds for peasants. So don't think that you are far superior to peasants. And actually, you are the level of the peasants of Europe then, and also peasants of India right now. Therefore, the level of knowledge varies. However, the perception remains same. You don't understand something, you think it is very well done. That's why you don't understand. There's a logic. Some people resent, but by and large, they think that what is incomprehensible must be really good. Gramsci said that that's actually the disconnect between the clergy and the peasants. Clergies could not occupy the mind, they occupy the minds of people, but they could not get the hearts of the people. They could not control the millions of hearts of population. Therefore, they connect with the public. By and large, remain external. Now, the unity which the Catholic Church established throughout medieval Europe was very hegemonic, but beneath that unity, there is a hole, a disconnect between the clergy, the intellectual, and ordinary people. That hole ultimately burst into a massive movement. So therefore, but that clergy, as Gramsci says, is an organic intellectual of the feudal era. In the feudal era, the intellectual believed in controlling the peasants externally, though enforcing their feudal superiority over their lifestyle, and therefore the clergy of the medieval era was organic intellectual, representing the class and also its view. Both the clergies were part of the ruling class. One, second, they're also representing the ruling class view of the time to they're carrying that view to the ordinary people of the time. Therefore, Gramsci says they are the organic intellectuals of the feudal era. But as the modern Protestant movement evolved, the challenge, Catholic Church felt isolated, alienated, resisted such changes. They got gradually marginalized by the kings, by the kingdoms, by the traders, by the peasants. They got isolated from their life, and they got cornered throughout Europe. And very few, especially bearing the south of Europe, they could not survive. When France they could not survive, extreme south of Europe, they managed to survive. Catholic Church still survives in south of Europe, the extreme south. So for that, parts of Greece, parts of Italy, etc. But they could not manage to. They felt alienated. Therefore, by 1890, Gramsci argued that Catholic Church was a standalone property. It was not able to connect with the ruling class, connect with the workers and peasants of the time. By 1890, Catholic Church was a desktop computer. Windows is gone. So Windows network is gone. It's a desktop computer like, and got alienated from people, from the rulers, and therefore Catholic Church realized that unless it behaves differently, it is destined to die. in order to revive Catholic Church, try to reconcile with the Protestant ethics. For the first time, from 1890 onwards, Catholic Church initiated reforms of the kind Protestant movement has been demanding from 1515 onwards. In other words, they carried out intellectual, moral reformation of the church itself. What they did, they adopted a left-wing line. They adopted pro-people line. They adopted a language, pro-people language. They adopted Bible in the mother tongue. First, second, they connected with people in their own bhasha, own language. Their activities, they carried out educational activities among the illiterate peasants, which Protestant movement didn't do. Actually, therefore, the Catholic Church once revived itself. It not merely learned from Protestant ethics that they must translate Bible in the mother tongue, and also try to impart sense of education to the peasants, which Protestant movement didn't do. Therefore, these so-called Jesuit movement today, you find Jesuit colleges and Jesuit educational institutions in India, they are all product of 1890 attempt by Catholic Church to reform itself in order to survive in the imagination of ordinary people. Otherwise, they realize that they are going to die soon. With a splendor isolation, a politics of isolation, Gramsci calls it, the church became organic. What is organic to life of people in the medieval era? The whole church now looks like a group of cosmopolitan intellectuals who have a worldview, they defend a worldview in isolation from ordinary people's lives. Gramsci uses cosmopolitan negative. Gramsci says cosmopolitan intellectuals have worldview, they hold a worldview in isolation from ordinary people's life. Therefore, the way out is to overcome cosmopolitanism or politics of isolationism. In order to stay connect with people, Catholic Church reinvented new wheels. It learned from its enemy. Remember, I keep harping this point. Learn from enemy, you have a way out of solution. Solution is on your hand, my dear comrades. Learn from your enemies. The Catholic Church learned from his enemy. Protestant Church was my prime enemy from 1515 till 1890. The entire decade, Catholic Church experienced gradual recession of power. Gradual, the title of power went against it because it refused to participate, refused to organize itself, reinvent its will from 1515 till 1890. 1890, it was about to die. Then it learned from its enemy. Learning from enemy gives you strength of the enemy. That's what Catholic Church learned. Catholic Church inherited the lessons of Protestant ethics and did all that Protestant movement did, but they did also more than that. What Catholic Protestant movement did not do, they did. They organized peasants into cooperative societies. They brought education to the life of the peasantry. They taught education in the mother tongue. They therefore invented the culture of mother tongues throughout Europe. And therefore, literacy, etc., got increased because of intervention by the Jesuit movement. The Jesuit, Gramsci calls, they are the left-wing intellectuals of the church. They represent the left side of the church. The right wing still believed in cosmopolitan isolationism or cosmopolitan existence. They wanted to create spellbound psychology in minds of ordinary people. The left wing realized that if you create spellbound psychology, people will withdraw from you and you will not stay in the minds of the people. They will disconnect from them. Therefore, to revive church is to bring back devotees to church, bring back ordinary people to church. Therefore, we must intervene in the life of ordinary in order to attract their attention toward the church, toward the goals of the church. Therefore, new hegemony began. As Gramsci argues that hegemony project always involves learning from the enemy. Always. If you don't learn from enemy, you can never exercise your hegemony. The major flaw of the communist movement today is this: they never learn from their friends, forget enemy. They don't learn from their friends. How will they learn from enemy? If I can't learn from my friend, will I ever learn from my enemy? It won't happen. So the communist movement is gone. Catholic Church is an important lesson here. Declining organization, rapidly declining for 5 decades, for 5 centuries, remember, 1515 till 1890. Just imagine the centuries. Declining, arrested decline by learning from enemy. So the communist movement similarly can arrest its decline today by learning from its enemy. The lesson of Catholic Church is available to all of us. Catholic Church revived itself hugely. Today it is popular in south of Europe because of the revival of Catholic Church carried out since 1890 by Jesuit movement. Jesuits popularized Catholicity among people of the world. They carried the old memories, they revived this thing, and as a result of this Jesuit currents, they do a lot of educational work. You go to all over India, you find, Don Bosco School. The Don Bosco is an education trust is run by Jesuits. So therefore, such educational societies were set up by Church, Catholic Church, 1890 onwards. They carried out education among peasants. They carried out cooperative activities among peasants. They carried out translation of activities among peasants. As a result, the peasantry started to come back to church. They felt connected with the intellectuals of the church, with the clergies of earlier they were intimidated by the clergies. Now they felt clergies are friendly towards them. They are the new, I'm talking new clergies. New clergies were leading that sect called Jesuit movement. Jesuits revived Catholic Church in big way. They basically did these activities. Ram said that left-wing Catholic Church popularized the Catholic Church, and Catholic Church began to stay in the memories of people because the role played by the revivalist in 1890 onwards. Since then, wherever Catholic Church is spread because of the efforts by the Jesuits, the priests, and they have carried Catholic Church to nook and corner of the world after 1890 onwards. And prior to that, they were all declining throughout the world, and more so in Europe. Therefore, this point about Gramsci that one learns from one has to learn from enemy in order to stay alive in the minds of people. If you don't learn from the strength of the enemy, you will not grow in life. You can't acquire hegemony. Catholic Church acquired hegemony, new hegemony, because we want to learn from enemy, the Protestant Church. So that's how Gramsci describes history of Catholicity, Catholic religion. From one time hegemony, declined, then began relearning, and again rose in status and power, in hegemonic splendor. Therefore, that's how the Catholic Church has gone through history of ups and downs, and managed to survive because it connected with the social imaginary, social aspirations of ordinary people. So the lesson is that this is how the lesson from this is that then they says that that one time the organic intellectual could also become a cosmopolitan intellectual. Lesson from this history of Catholicity, we learn this. One time was organic intellectual, could also become cosmopolitan intellectual. Was connecting with people, could not find language to connect with people. Was trying to at least connect with popular imagination by dominating them. Now is disconnected from popular imagination without any attempt to even dominate. They are receding in power. Therefore, an organic intellectual cannot remain organic unless it performs those tasks which are part of organic intellectual. So today's organic intellectual may become tomorrow's cosmopolitan intellectual. Tomorrow's cosmopolitan intellectual, by learning from enemy, by connecting with people, again can become organic intellectual. Therefore, this intellectual formation we will discuss later is a fluid scenario. Therefore, it always depends on the political equilibrium and the political perceptions, political strategies adopted by religious communities. That's why religion of people, religion of Catholic Church moved through history of ups and downs. So Gramsci argues that there is a lesson for this for all of us, for socialist movement. Socialist movement should, Gramsci says that the Catholic Church uses a term. Catholic Church in the medieval era articulated the ideology of total praxis, which is term total praxis. Total basically means what? They try to control the entire population. Basically, ideology of all classes. All classes supported Catholic Church for long time. The king and the peasant, the king and the pauper, they supported Catholic Church for long time, without an exception. Therefore, it says that indicates Catholic Church invented philosophy of total praxis. It says Communist Party, a socialist movement, must be practicing similar thing. It must aim at a total praxis. It must be philosophy of the entire population. Must be philosophy of everybody. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. Therefore, the socialism should be like that, which I told you already when I was teaching the Western political thought. Therefore, Gramsci argued that Catholicism was practicing sabka saath, sabka vikas. Sabka vikas to nahi hua, but they were at least connecting with everybody. But therefore, but that connection, there is externality, there is a loose end. The peasants were supporting church because they were holding intellectuals in awe and splendor. Out of fear, out of admiration for incomprehensible discourse, they are supporting. But socialism should not be like that. Socialism must be total praxis. However, it must invent a language which is comprehensible to people, which represents aspirations of everybody, must articulate their aspirations, must help everybody grow. सबका साथ इम्पोर्टेंट है, सबका विकास होना चाहिए, सबका ट्रस्ट भी लेना चाहिए. You must not merely connect with everybody. You must ensure that everybody develops by your effort, and everybody must trust in you. Therefore, this is a philosophy from Buddhism. You get the idea comes through various egalitarian traditions. Modi was actually invoking this metaphor, this symbolic metaphor practiced by Gautam Buddha. And Gramsci uses this idea from Catholic Church and argues that socialism must also be a total praxis, must be ideology that must cater to aspirations of everybody in society. Without that, socialism cannot progress any further. So therefore, this idea, this egalitarian idea, is there in several currents of society. The Catholic Church practice hegemonic total praxis, whereas the socialism must practice emancipatory total praxis. That is the difference. Catholic Church practice total praxis in a hegemonic form, in a powerful form, whereas socialism can't be a system of power. It has to be a system of emancipation. It can't control and dominate people. It must help people grow. It must be with people. With their help, it must grow further. Therefore, the task of socialism is to develop total praxis in an emancipatory form, not in a hegemonic form, which Catholic Church practiced in the medieval era. So Gramsci argued that this is how he runs this discussion. Very interesting that socialism must continuously learn from its adversaries. Without that, it has no bright future. And that his prediction has come true, where socialism never learned from even friends. So therefore, they could never learn from enemy. Enemy is far from their goal. They could never learn from friends. The result, socialism declined throughout the world. Remember, a declining church revived itself by learning from the forces which led to its decline. The lesson from Catholic Church is there before socialism today. If I talk like Gramsci, I am follower of Gramsci, I will talk like Gramsci. The lesson from Catholic Church is there before us. Declining church revived itself in 1890. It is under assault from 1515 till 1890. It could revive, it could survive, and it could expand. It could become hegemonic, new hegemon of 20th century because of initiative to learn from its adversary. If socialism also learns from its adversaries, apart from friends, it must learn. If it learns from adversary, it will always learn from friends. If it learn from adversary, it will also manage to survive. It will also be growing. It will also be able to acquire new hegemony. Therefore, to be hegemonic, you must learn from everybody. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. So I must thank you here. I must stop here. So I'm using Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas polemically. You will understand my spirit, but there is also rhetoric against the current regime. That point is, argument is well taken. Idea is interesting. Idea is not mentioned in Modi, as I told you. Idea is there in Catholic Church. Idea is there in the Buddhist movement. Idea is there in hegemonic current. Idea is there in counter-emancipatory currents. Idea is there in several currents across the globe. Therefore, it's not Modi's idea. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is not his original thinking, original take. He merely articulated in order to gain hegemonic control of Indian society. Thank you. Any question?
Sir, I have a question. Like, the Catholic Church has taken almost like 4 centuries to reinvent itself. But this communist philosophy is a new one. But do you think it is very early to assess its success or failure?
No, it can. Yes, no question you have to refer. See, Catholic Church reinvented itself through what Gramsci calls moral intellectual reformation. Therefore, similarly, if you think, along with Gramsci, that socialism today has declined and it needs revival, he must learn the practices Catholic Church adopted to revive itself. That is simply to learn from the enemies. That's all. So long as you don't acquire the strength of the enemy, you don't grow in life. Simple matter. Don't acquire. If you don't by defeating enemy, you don't grow. By absorbing strength of the enemy, you grow. If you don't grow that, the socialism doesn't adopt that stance of Catholic Church of 1890. Today, in 2020, socialism has no bright future. It is declining further, receding further. And socialist communists throughout the world have not learned anything from their failures. They are still celebrating their failures. I'm quite amazed. How can I celebrate your one's failure? It's necessary for us to be introspective, critical, self-critical, in order to revive ourselves. Therefore, that has not happened in the. I'm talking about the communist movement in India. Not happened. They are still criticizing enemy only. And when you criticize yourself, Catholic Church practice attack on Protestant movement. But did that help to revive itself? It didn't. Only by connecting with the lessons from the Protestant ethics, by learning from the practice strategy adopted by Protestant religion, Protestant church, it became popular. And by building on that story, they invented new things. But if you don't build up the strength of the enemy, you will not invent new things. Therefore, you will not gain ascendancy in the imagination of ordinary people. This is essentially a brilliant point made by Gramsci actually. I find this parallel very interesting because today communism is actually on the verge of distraction, self-distraction, I must say. So the church, Catholic Church was on the course of self-destruction. Revive itself by learning from strength of the enemy. And why can't socialists and communists learn from the strength of the enemy and revive themselves? Simple point from Gramsci. That Gramsci is no more there. Arun Patnaik is there to tell you on that. Story will continue. I will represent Gramsci 2020 in India today. So, anything else? Otherwise, we'll meet next class. And if you have a question, you can ask me. I will tell you the connection. I didn't tell you the political. See, what I didn't tell you so far. I didn't tell you the political ramification of my classification. What I told you is a system of classification Gramsci has evolved, and the historical narrative of the Catholic Church I told you. But why that system of classification is evolved? And does it signify anything for secular thinking, secular politics? Does it have a political significance in any form? Hmm. Does Gramsci say that, or we have to derive political inferences from his classification? We'll discuss in next class. Did I send you Fulton's essay on Gramsci's theory of religion and power?
No, sir.
No, I will send you today.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so bye bye.
Thank you.